Hello and welcome to the Trick Splash training program. Today we're going to cover the topic of our swim program overview. We're going to give you a basic outline of how our program works, starting with the cost, going down to class structure, how parents can observe classes, how students get into classes, how our program and curriculum is generally arranged. And that's going to give you pretty much a big overview of the program in a nutshell. Starting with our monthly tuition, we've structured our swim program so that all classes are 45 minutes, regardless of the age or skill level. The cost of the classes, because of the time amount, is the same also. So at the time of this recording, our monthly tuition for once a week, 4 classes in a month, is $92.50. Now, it's your responsibility to keep up to date on those costs, because parents will be and may be asking you questions about that, or as new people come in or are curious about the swim program. It's a good idea for you to at least know how much it costs for them and keep up to date on your current pricing. To make it simple though, we've made all the swim classes the same price, and I don't anticipate that should change in the future. Class size. Due to safety reasons, swim classes are never overbooked except for with the specific instructions of the swim director. If for some reason you find your class is accidentally overbooked, in other words it's overscheduled, please double check first. That's why it's really important to check your classes and who you're expecting in your class before your shift, because it gives you a chance then to get those things corrected. If you find that your class is scheduled to be overbooked, contact the office immediately. Go to the office, let them know the class and the issue, and they will correct it. That's a really important first step. They do not have my permission to overbook the class. An instructor does not have my carte blanche permission to overbook a class. You have to contact me if you think there is a specific reason that the class needs to be overbooked. So those overbooking class can only be done with my specific instructions. Anytime that you find a class accidentally overbooked, contact the office to correct it. That's not something I would do without informing an instructor first. So the class sizes are 8 maximum for Tadpole Tots, so no more than 8, don't overbook it. And no more than 4 for every other level. Every other level has no more than 4 students per instructor. Class structure information. The length of each class is 45 minutes. And that's regardless of how many students you have. If you have 1 student, the class goes a full 45 minutes. If you have 4 students, the class goes a full 45 minutes. Mainly that's because our pricing is based upon the class time. So the duration, so how long, okay, that's different than the length. The length of each class is 45 minutes. How long do they spend in each level, the duration, or how long are your sessions? We don't have sessions, and when can they expect their child to graduate is kind of a broad question, because as anyone knows, kids progress at different levels. So for that reason, we make the classes ongoing. We don't have sessions, and we track the student's individual progress based upon their own skills. So if the student is a quick learner and they master skills quickly, they move forward quickly and through the levels more quickly. If for some reason they are not able to pick up the swim lessons as quickly, and they don't have as high of an aptitude for swimming, then their swim progress will not be as rapid as the former student. So how do we determine where to place them? What we do is we allow the parent to use our easy placement guide on the schedule when they're first coming in to try out a class or to see if they want to do a class. So then they would look on this guide, determine when it would be best for them to, which level would be best for them to enroll in. Then the office kind of helps guide them on that, and then they try out in that class. Their tryout class is not their permanent placement necessarily. Most of the time it works out to be that way because the guide and the office are pretty good at steering people in the right level. But sometimes the instructor has to recommend a different level. They do that based upon their evaluation in the trial class. So when do they graduate? As I said earlier, the progress varies from student to student, but our expectation as a program is to work the student through each level in 12 to 24 lessons. Now, if you break that down into if they're going once a week, that would be 3 to 6 months. But if you tell a parent it's going to take their child 3 to 6 months to complete a level, that seems like a long time when they compare it to your traditional 2-week crash course swim program. So I rarely convert that into months of tuition, and I always express it in terms of lessons, 12 to 24 lessons, because if they went twice a week, the number of months they're in class is shorter in order to accomplish 12 to 24 lessons, but their skill progress would equal 12 to 24 lessons. More time in the pool equals more skill progress, and that is generally true no matter what level a child is at. The 12 to 24 lessons is a general expectation that we have as a swim program. It's also one that we communicate to our customers. So it's one that we want you to aim at as a swim instructor. How do we accomplish this? We accomplish this using our lesson format. Most lessons are structured by dividing the class time into 5 segments: kicking skills, swim strokes, breath control, floating skills, and water safety. Those segments are spelled out and iterated on a lesson plan, which is what I call a scripted lesson plan. That means that the instructor is given not only what skills they're going to work on in the week, but also, because we have themes, they're also told how to present each of these skills so that the theme is incorporated in there. So that's why they're generally called scripted. It requires the instructor to read through the lesson plan, have a general idea what skills they're working on, have a general idea of the theme, and then also have a specific idea of how the two are tied together so that they can present their class in a way that not only matches the theme and the expectation from a presentation point of view, but also will garner the amount of skill progress that's going to be required, so to include the amount of skill repetition necessary for those students to progress. So those theme weeks, just like our gymnastics club, are based on some general categories. Sometimes they're in a skill-specific theme, such as strokes week or freestyle week or backstroke week. Sometimes they're gross motor skills, like backward week or forward week or sideways week. Sometimes they're life skills, such as brave week, adventure week, and sometimes brave week or responsibility, family week, and sometimes they're adventure themes like jungle or treasure island. That's how we keep the repetition that's necessary for skill development incorporated in the lesson without making it monotonous. The themes provide that change and that difference and that newness to the lesson that you might not otherwise get just going through the skills. So parent observation, in other words, the parents can view the lessons. There are several options for parent viewing. They're in the pool room, there are benches. In the playroom, there is a closed circuit viewing option, so they have video cameras in the pool room and they're directed to a monitor in the playroom, where the parents can view, especially if they have other younger brothers and sisters or young enough to be entertained in the playroom. They can view from in there, as well as options to view from the patio. Because the viewing area is limited in the pool room, and because there isn't a gate separating the spectators from the pool, it's important. 2 things are really important. It's important to warn our customers about that. If they have any siblings that are watching from the bench, that the parent needs to keep a good eye on them so they're not wandering around the pool. And if they do wander around the pool, or they're interfering with lessons, or a spectator child's going to reach in the pool, they need to be told that they should leave the pool area for their child's safety, in order to maintain a good level of safety. Also, because the deck space is limited, it's a good idea not to have a bunch of strollers and car seats in the pool area. We do have a handout that explains that. It's much easier to give every parent that initial parent information sheet so they can read through it and understand why it might be important to have only adult spectators in the pool room. Although we don't forbid children spectators, we do really discourage children spectators and encourage only the parents to be viewing from the pool room. But we believe it is important to allow the parents to view in the pool room, both for the parent and the child. Some kids and parents have a separation anxiety, so keeping them apart can decrease the likelihood that the student's going to warm up to the swim lesson very quick. They're going to have anxiety about being away from their parent. And a lot of times, in fact, with the extra shy kids, we encourage the parent to sit right next to the pool. We don't encourage them to be interactive with the lesson as much as just being nearby and behaving like what I call a teddy bear. So I call it our teddy bear technique, but that's in another training. Focusing primarily on allowing the parents to view the lessons, both so that to reduce anxiety for them and their child, and also the parents get an idea of what it is that we're doing in the swim lesson and how that's benefiting their child. The following information pertains to class information and how we handle tryouts or trial students, which are students that are new to our program. Excuse me. So for the Tadpole Tots, those would be any trial students that are under 3 years old would participate in the Tadpole Tots. In fact, all students under 3 are required to stay in the Tadpole Tots until they're at least within 1 month of their 3rd birthday. The youngest age we recommend for the class is about 18 months, although there are plenty of people that want to participate earlier than that, and we allow them to. The only age that we start to discourage them from really joining in and participating is if the child is less than a year old. At less than a year old, they really need what's more likely titled an infant swim class, and so we intentionally label it a Tadpole Tot swim class because it is geared toward toddlers that have some motor skill development, also some linguistic skills developed, and that's what the curriculum is kind of designed for. Also important that all Tadpole Tot students are required to wear a swim diaper, whether they're potty trained or not. That's an important policy that we have to keep a clear and consistent policy for all of our students and trial students. Any child that is 3 years old, not 4 and not under 3, but exactly 3 years old, would try out in our minnow swim class. Now, unlike the Tadpole Tots, the minnows are tracked according to their skill once they register in the class. And in fact, the trial students for the minnow classes are evaluated so that they can be recommended for the class they should register in. A great majority of the 3-year-olds that try out in minnows stay in minnows, and because of that is why we don't encourage the parents of 3-year-olds to try and place them in other classes on their own. Generally, any 3-year-old that's had an extensive amount of swim lessons, if they've been in swim a long time, the early part of those swim lessons, they were infants basically. So the likelihood that they're going to be a well-rounded, broad-spectrum swimmer is unlikely. And it's much easier to promote the couple of students that get promoted out of minnows than it is to try to juggle the 3-year-olds back into minnows classes after they're evaluated if they are allowed to try out the other lessons. It makes for a lot smoother transition, and they're grouped together with students of their own peers. And a 3-year-old class functions in a specific and special way where the instructor sets the pace and mentality toward that age set. That allows the class to be inclusive and to also allow those type of 3-year-old distractions to be typical. In other words, a parent who has a 5-year-old enrolled in class isn't going to be deterred or discouraged by seeing the behavior of a 3-year-old in the group just acting like another 3-year-old. So all 3-year-old trial students go into the minnows class, and then they're evaluated to determine what level they should enroll. On the other hand, 4 and 5-year-olds, the parent gets to use what we call our easy placement chart on our schedule. So for 4 and 5-year-olds, the parent uses the easy placement schedule and tries to decide which level their child is likely
match up with. At that point, the office also can lend a hand in dialing in and helping them determine what level might be best for their first day in class. On the first day, the 4 and 5-year-olds are evaluated to decide if which level they should enroll in, and then that recommendation is made to the parent based on the skills for that. The same situation for 6 to 10-year-olds, but we separate the 6 to 10-year-olds in their own categories. So in other words, the introductory students who are 4 or 5, they go into a class called Otters, but our introductory students for 6 to 10 go into a class called Introductory. So we group the students according to their age set first and then according to their abilities. So all 6 to 10-year-olds are in the 6 to 10-year-old class groups, and then divided according to the 4 skill levels that we have. All 4 and 5-year-olds are divided into the preschool age groups, so in other words, the 4 and 5-year-old groups, and then divided according to their skill levels, the 4 skill levels at that point. So trial students that are 6 to 10 would try out in classes for those levels. So an introductory level 6 to 10 is intro, an introductory level 4 and 5 is Otters, an introductory 3-year-old or a trial 3-year-old is Minnows. After that point, they're evaluated for the levels that they should join in. Now, there are occasions when exceptions need to be made, but any exceptions should be done by the swim director only. That allows us to keep a continuity in the program. It allows the exceptions to be rare and not the norm, and it also helps instructors avoid that temptation of just wanting to please a customer at any cost. We do want our customers to be happy, but no one's going to be happy if their child is placed in the wrong class. So we want all the exceptions to those above guidelines for tryouts to be made by the swim director only. Okay, now we're going to talk about our swim curriculum overview. These are a breakdown of the levels that we offer and what skills are included for each of those levels. The overall ages for our program are 18 months from the toddler class up to about 10 years old for our school age classes. The reason that we have an age limit on both sides are twofold. Number one, we have our curriculum designed for a specific age set of students. So it is designed with a lot of imaginative play. It is designed with a lot of inspired adventure. And we feel like the students in that age range, between 18 months and 10 years old, are best suited for that type of curriculum. Also, the pool itself is only on its long side 3 yards, or 9 yards, sorry, not 3 yards. The pool on its long side is 9 yards. So the amount of strokes an older student, a teenager, or an older teenager would get in the pool at that point would be limiting, and so difficult for them to practice skill development. So for those 2 reasons, we've limited our age set, 18 months to 10 years old. Now there could be exceptions to those, but also those exceptions should only be made by the swim director. And we'll talk a little bit about the swim levels. We offer instruction for all levels, from introductory, like non-swimmers, all the way up to advanced competitive swimmers. And we do have several students over the course of time that will be on swim team during swim season and then continue to take lessons with us in the off season when they have more time. So our introductory non-swimmers are getting introduced to the water, developing water acclimation, water safety skills, and those water safety skills continue up through the advanced levels, where the students will also be mastering advanced strokes, including freestyle, aka front crawl, backstroke, breaststroke, and butterfly stroke. Now, who says you can't swim all year long, right? Our indoor pool is always a perfect 89 degrees. Our nurturing environment will help the little ones become little swimmers, and our 45-minute classes have a lot of activity, great swim challenges that are age appropriate and fun. So every class includes training on breath control, strokes, kicks, floating, and swim safety. And we want to make sure to hit on all 5 of those topics in as many of the lesson plans as possible. Some of the themes lend themselves better to focusing in on some skills, and so we do that. But for most of the lesson plans, we hit on all 5 subjects. This curriculum overview is going to be broken into your beginner levels, your basic levels, your intermediate levels, and your advanced levels. So beginner levels we generally call our introductory levels. All beginner levels will help the children, the students, learn to swim a short distance on their own, float on their back without assistance, and be able to submerge and resurface confidently at about a 3-foot depth, along with almost 30 more swim development skills. So every level has 32 pass-off skills to be specific. And at the beginner level, they're swimming a short distance, floating on their back a short time, submerge and resurface at a 3-foot depth. Tadpole tots are the ages under 3. They're designed specifically for toddlers. It's well suited for all swim aptitudes. In other words, if you have a toddler who's a rather precocious swimmer, they'll get along fine in a tots class. Or if you have a toddler who has a particular aversion to water even, they'll get along fine in a Tadpole tots class. In fact, the 2 of those students would be just as happy in the very same class. It's a parent participation class, so for every child it's always their turn, and they have their own unique teacher, which is their parent, to help guide them through all of the activities that the instructor presents. Minnows, this is the beginning level or the introductory level for ages 3. All 3-year-olds start out in the Minnows class, and most of them stay in the Minnows class until they're close to being 4, although there is a certain percentage of them that are able to acquire and master those skills and move forward to the more difficult levels. The 3-year-olds are their own special kind of person. They're no longer babies, but they still need a lot of success to stay motivated. The 3-year-old will be inspired to explore their swim skills in the Minnows class. We give them a lot of encouragement, give them a lot of activity, and really keep the Minnows class focused on them being involved and active. Otters are the introductory students that are ages 4 and 5. At this age, the children are usually feeling a little bigger sense of social cooperation, so they're usually able to wait just a few more seconds in between turns. Being in a group, being grouped in a class with their peers their own age can really help them gain their confidence with these introductory skills, because they're seeing students their own age do the skills, and so it increases the likelihood that they're going to develop the courage to try them out on their own. And that really starts to develop in the kids that are 4 and 5, and group lessons are particularly beneficial for students in this age group. The introductory level for our ages 6 to 10 is called introductory, and most children in this age group will learn the introductory skills fairly quickly. Now, there are some students that have an aversion or some previously bad experience with swim lessons or water, and so those students are on a longer learning curve, but the general expectation for an introductory level student is that they're going to progress through these skills rather quickly, because it's really about just getting their face in the water. They can swim a short distance, they can float on their back, they can basically reach underwater with their face in the water and pick up something. And so for kids 6 to 10, the learning curve on the introductory level class is fairly rapid, and it should be expected both by our customers and with our instructors to move those kids through those skills rather quickly. Basic levels. All basic levels, now this is the level up from the beginner or the introductory levels, all basic levels build on those introductory skills. So it's helping them learn and accomplish the basic swim strokes. It helps them learn and accomplish the basic swim strokes. So they're working on being introduced to the front crawl, or what a lot of people call freestyle, backstroke, treading water, and other swim strokes that you begin to recognize the name of, as well as swim safety skills, where it's the child doing more of the skills for their own safety. The basic level for ages 3 and 5 is called dolphins. So that all the children 3 to 5 who have accomplished all the skills in one of the introductory levels. In other words, a minnow who graduates all the skills for a minnows class, they would be graduated into the dolphins class. And an otters student, a 4 and 5-year-old who completes all the otter skills, would also be graduated into dolphins class. That's why the dolphins age set is really 3 to 5, although you might see on the schedule it says 4 and 5. That's so that people understand that the 3-year-olds all join in for the trial students in the minnows, and then we know to progress those students based upon their skill level. And so because they're built on those introductory levels, it's a natural progression for those students to thrive in the basic levels. Basic ages 6 to 10 is called basic. This school age equivalence to the dolphins class. It keeps the children engaged and enthusiastic about swimming and challenging themselves to new accomplishments. They, at this point, start to realize that they can learn the skills and initiate the skills, and that really is the core part. One of the core parts of our philosophy with learning is that we're not trying to aggressively push them through the introductory skills. We do expect, the older kids to move through them rather rapidly, but we're not going to force them through anything, but instead be as encouraging we can, so when they accomplish those introductory skills and reach that basic level, they're ready to lead the charge and are eager to take on new challenges and to acquire new skills in swimming. Intermediate levels. Our intermediate level students will be mastering the major swim strokes such as freestyle, backstroke, treading water, as well as being introduced to the more advanced strokes such as breaststroke and butterfly stroke. At this level, in all age groups, most of our students are able to qualify for your local recreational swim team. So once they hit the intermediate level, you can fairly well expect that your child's a swimmer, that they can understand and perform the major strokes, and that they should be at that point prepared or have the skills to join a swim team if that's their interest. And if it's not their interest, at least that not only are they a more safe swimmer, but also a technically skilled swimmer. What we call our intermediate level for ages 3 and 5 is sharks. And even as the 3 to 5-year-olds master swim skills and reach high levels of swim proficiency, they're still motivated by fun and imagination. And so even up through all of our levels, and including this intermediate level, we incorporate a lot of adventure and imagination in the classes, and a lot of encouragement. After all, just because a 3-year-old can do advanced level strokes doesn't mean they're not 3 anymore. And so we want to make sure that we're encouraging those 3, 4, and 5-year-old students to continue to acquire skills just in the same way they were encouraged in the introductory and basic levels. They should get that same encouragement and fostering and uplifting experience that they got in those other levels. They should get those same things in the intermediate level. The intermediate level for ages 6 to 10 is called intermediate. Lo and behold. Although many students at this level would qualify for a swim team, most of them aren't motivated by getting on swim team or ribbons and trophies. A lot of these students just arrived at the intermediate level because they love to swim, because they love to swim at tricks. And we want to make sure we have somewhere for them to go and continue to build and develop their skills, and have a good positive environment where they can acquire those intermediate skills that will lead them to advanced level swimming. Advanced levels. Advanced means just what it says. The students in this class will master all the major swim strokes and have fun doing it in a fun and safe and wholesome environment. They're going to master freestyle, backstroke, elementary backstroke, breaststroke, and butterfly, as well as a lot of safety, swim safety, and other rounding skills to help them become advanced level swimmers. The advanced classes for ages 3 to 5 is called Stingrays, and it's true we do have some 3-year-olds that really can swim better than most adults. And that being said, most of the students in this level are actually probably 4 and 5, but there are your occasional 3-year-olds that really blow the doors off of everyone and surprise everyone with their great swim skills. The advanced level 1 is for ages 6 to 10. That's what is called advanced level 1. And many of our students just keep swimming after graduating this level. In fact, they love to swim, and we love to teach swim, so even the master swimmers need to continue to practice to keep their skills sharp. So many students who in the past have moved on or graduated level 1 still continue to attend classes with us. That's why we developed advanced level 2. These students stay in the same day in class time, but they get an additional skill poster highlighting some additional skills for them that will help them develop more endurance, develop better technique for increasing their speed or increasing their endurance or their ability to do a stroke without it wearing them out so well, so their efficiency in the stroke. It also helps them learn some more advanced safety skills that might assist them in more extreme circumstances or even assisting with another distress swimmer if needed. So those are our lesson curriculum in a nutshell that polishes off our swim program overview. If you have any questions, please direct those to your swim manager.